Ain't nobody's running, ain't nobody's hiding, nobody's ducking. I mean, Crawford's gonna be right there, ready to trade blows with Canelo Alvarez. Why did you use that word war? Why you
go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages? Most of them are Crawford.
Crawford could see everything coming. He could see everything coming that Canelo threw at him. He was reading it so well. His guard was so tight as well when he was up at the ropes, when he was exiting, looking to move around.
Looked about the same size, but that was a brilliant performance. And what can you say? I mean, you got to give him his credit. He created a lot of history. He dreamt this fight. He willed it to happen. A lot of people, not me, but a lot of people laughed at him, said forget about it, no chance against a bigger guy like that.
Stephen A. Smith delivered a passionate response to Canelo Alvarez's defeat against Terence Crawford. He explained that Crawford had pursued this matchup for years as a way to cement his legacy. In Smith's eyes, Crawford stepped up under the brightest spotlight and walked away with the crown, overshadowing Canelo's shine. He stressed that this was far more than just another victory, it was a career-defining moment.
Division world champion out of Omaha, Nebraska. He's undefeated, 41-0 with 31 KOs, and he begged for this fight. He wanted Canelo bad because to him, it's all about legacy. I'm not speculating. I'm telling you what I know. And how would I know? It's because I interviewed him. Yesterday, we sat down. Here is my conversation with the one and only Terence Crawford challenging Saul Canelo Alvarez, moving up 2 weight divisions to do it.
Max Kellerman also described Crawford's showing as historic and transformative. Breaking down Canelo's loss, Kellerman compared the test to climbing multiple weight classes and facing an opponent willing to drag you into a grueling battle like never before. He observed that true champions chase challenges without fearing size, speed, or power. Crawford, he said, carried that fearless mentality, reminding everyone that for years, few dared to even call him out. To Kellerman, this fight stamped Crawford's place among the sport's most respected figures.
Giving up or having to jump up 2 more weight classes and fight a guy who might put him in a dogfight, a real one, for the first time in his career.
When we get put in that position, we go find opposition to make that happen. You understand me? So when we go looking for the opposition, we're not concerned about how big they are, how fast they are, how strong they are. We feel like we got enough that we can bring to the table with anybody. That night I fought John Ruiz, I didn't care who was over there. Whoever they brought out that locker room was going to get it. You understand me? That's just what it was. And I think Bud kind of has that feeling. Now, Bud, you got to remember, has been around for a long time. Nobody called him out. You understand me? All the time Floyd came at the boxing, Floyd never said, I want Bud Crawford.
No one ever said his name.
Hey, all I know is one thing, Israel Mazrimov, he didn't get it, he barely lost.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but nobody called his name.
Shakur Stevenson's admiration for Terence Crawford had long been clear, but after the Canelo fight, it took on new meaning. He explained that Crawford not only fulfilled his promises, but also showed why he is revered across boxing. Stevenson admitted that from the earliest point in his career, he modeled his own approach on Crawford's style, discipline, and mindset. Seeing his idol achieve such a landmark victory reassured him that greatness is forged through preparation and consistency. For Stevenson, Crawford represents not just a champion, but a mentor-like figure embodying the excellence young fighters strive for.
Cook Canelo. He said he was going to outbox him. He did exactly what I called years ago, and tonight he proved that he's the greatest boxer to ever live.
Well, in the interview with Dimwit, you said you felt like going on a run watching that tonight. How much inspiration can you take from someone like Terence?
I take everything from him. I've been around him since I was a kid, and just watching that greatness.
Stephen A. Smith also revisited Crawford's determination leading into the fight with Canelo. He pointed out that while some boxers would have demanded a lower weight to gain an advantage, Crawford boldly chose to fight at 168 pounds, directly in Canelo's division. For him, the decision wasn't about comfort but about leaving a legacy. Smith reminded fans that Canelo remains one of the sport's top names, with titles across divisions. By targeting Canelo's accomplishments at super middleweight without compromise, Crawford showed his hunger to achieve greatness on the toughest stage.
41-0, Molly, with 31 knockouts. He's taken on all comers. I asked him, you're moving up in weight. Why would you not try to get Canelo to come down from 168 to 160 to meet you halfway, since his last fight was Crawford's last fight was at 154? Crawford said, I want what he has. I want to go take it. I don't want to make I don't want him making concessions and alterations. I'm coming to take what he has. and you look at him, and no one believes that he can't pull it off. He can box, he can punch, he's smart, he's elite, and he wants Canelo. He begged Canelo for this fight.
Aide Oladipo underlined the dramatic change in public perception surrounding Terence Crawford. Beforehand, critics claimed he was undersized, too old, and incapable of competing with a powerhouse like Canelo at a higher class. After the fight, many of those same critics were quick to praise him, erasing the doubts they once voiced. Oladipo stressed that Crawford earned every bit of recognition because he took the hardest possible road. By rising from smaller divisions to challenge and defeat a dominant figure like Canelo, Crawford proved that it isn't age or size that defines him, but skill, courage, and determination.
Crawford did it again a few hours ago against Canelo. And what makes it even special or more special for Crawford is that he did it jumping up, as we know, a couple of weight classes. He did it against one of an all-time or another fellow all-time great, and he did it against someone who was undisputed and still a pound-for-pound top 10 guy. That's what Crawford did, people. So, you know, all those things people were saying in the lead up to this fight, you know, Canelo's going to be too strong, Canelo's too experienced, Crawford's going to be 38, all that. You have to remember all of that when you give Crawford his flowers. Don't like, oh, well, you know, Canelo looks old. No. I don't want to hear any of that. I've started to see a few people on Twitter start to kind of sort of find excuses already. No. Remember everything you said, because Crawford deserves all of that. All of that. Crawford was incredible. Honestly, in the pocket, he was at times showing Canelo, no, I'm stronger than you. I'm going to bully you. Oh, you think you're going to get me in the clinch because you're Mr. 168? No, look at the size of me. I'm jacked as well. I'm swole. And he was moving Canelo around. So by doing that, he got his respect. He didn't switch to orthodox once, stayed in the southpaw stance because he realized early, oh, Canelo don't like this. Canelo does not like this southpaw stance. Canelo's tripping over himself. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to switch it. No, I like this work. I'm going to stay here. On the ropes, it's like, okay, come in, because you know when you come in, you know I've got that as well, and I can hurt you as well. Spinning off the ropes. His jab was fantastic. They put up the jab numbers. He was out jabbing Canelo like, it was almost like 10-1, maybe even 20-1. It was fantastic, and when he needed to land those power shots, he was landing those power shots. It was an incredible performance.
The Wade Concept analyst offered a sharp perspective, shutting down claims that Canelo's defeat was simply the decline of an aging champion. He reminded viewers that Crawford is actually older than Canelo, so age cannot explain Alvarez's loss. On top of that, Canelo entered the bout with clear advantages in size, strength, and experience in the division. Yet even with all those factors, he was still convincingly beaten. WDE argued that this was not about Canelo slipping, but about Crawford rising to an entirely new level. By stripping away the excuses, he emphasized that Crawford's win was genuine, undeniable, and historic.
More tight, more fundamentally sound. While Canelo, even when he was able to get to range, which wasn't a lot, it wasn't often, he was having a hard time landing clean because everything was super wide and out here and to the body out there. And Crawford would either circle out to that same side, to Canelo's lead hand side, he would circle away, because Canelo would step straight to Crawford and chase him and not necessarily cut him off. And even when he threw that hook, I was looking for the hook from Canelo right hand as he stepped through, right? Corral with the lead hand, bang the right hand because you're fighting a southpaw. So yeah, your jab may not be as effective in landing and managing distance and all those things, even though for Terence it kind of was. For Canelo, I was expecting a lot more of that right hand down the middle and over the top, and him jabbing his way, feint jab right hand, and then that lead hook that I thought he would be able to corral Crawford, because Crawford did want to move away from Canelo. He did. He wanted to move away from that power hand. Smart to do. Canelo never took that extra step to step outside of Crawford's lead foot. Again, that orthodox southpaw matchup, it's always going to be a battle of that lead foot. He never took that next step to get outside of that lead foot and then step through Crawford, step to his left where Crawford was going and land his right hand. He just felt like he was falling off to his right with his right hand, and once he fell off to his right after he threw the right hand, there was no follow-ups because he was off balance and Crawford was out the gate and circling back to reset the action. This was a masterful display from Terence Crawford, and again, I looked at this fight, and I don't want to do the thing where I said, oh, Canelo's washed. He's over the top. He's old. Terence Crawford's older than Canelo. Is he as weathered as far as fights are concerned? No. But you can only do one thing when talking about this fight, and that is give credit to Terence Crawford. If you want to say Canelo looked old, that's fine. That's on you. I'm not going to say it.
Former world champion Carl Froch broke down Crawford's key tactical change in the middle rounds. He explained that once the 6th and 7th had passed, Crawford recognized the need to push forward and take greater command of the fight. His jab became the tool that disrupted Canelo's rhythm and pushed him onto the defensive. Froch praised Crawford's awareness in knowing the exact moment to shift gears. Instead of letting the contest play out on Canelo's terms, Crawford stepped in and asserted himself with authority.
Combination punches on the back foot, sort of dictating the pace. And then after about round 6 or 7, Canelo Alvarez knew, 1 second. I need a little freshener. Canelo knew he had to step on the gas. He knew he needed to put the fight on its front foot and take it to Terence Crawford and start to try and catch him and bang him up. And when he headbutted Crawford, I thought that could be the start of it. A little bit of a nut, get that down. Yeah, I don't know if there was a cut, but the referee stopped and had a look. And I thought, now Canelo's going to step on the gas. And he did that. He stepped on the gas, he started getting in close, and he started landing a few more shots than he was in the previous rounds, but it wasn't enough. Terence Crawford was able to catch and counter. He was landing a sneaky uppercut from the southpaw stance. He was dominating behind his jab, and then when Canelo stuck it on him, he was dominating up close in the pocket. He was beating him at his own game. Canelo Alvarez must have been fuming in there. He must have thought to himself, what can I do? He couldn't do anything. He needed to pick up the pace, put the pressure on, and sustain the attacks. And I don't want to take anything away from Terence Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez couldn't do that. He couldn't do it for long enough. Crawford looked like he could have done 20 rounds in there tonight at that pace, the way he was dictating and controlling. And Canelo Alvarez was getting marked up, he was breathing heavy, he was getting tired, he was reaching with shots, and he was getting torn apart. It was an absolute masterclass by Terence Crawford. Canelo tried, Canelo came and he had a go, but to be honest, I don't want to rain on the parade of Crawford, but Canelo Alvarez, for me, is well past his best now. He's seen better days. He hasn't got the pace, he hasn't got the fitness to sustain the attack. Afterwards in the interview, he said, I felt great, it's great, I feel good. And don't forget, Crawford's a couple of years older. So I think it's the miles on the clock. Canelo Alvarez had like 67 fights. I know Crawford's had a fair few fights, but he's about 20 fights behind him. So the miles on the clock have caught up with Canelo Alvarez. He's feeling the pace, he's feeling the age.
Another boxing analyst highlighted why Terence Crawford's win over Canelo Alvarez should be remembered as a masterclass in ring IQ. He called Crawford showing genius, noting how he seemed to predict nearly every punch before it left Canelo's hands. Crawford had clearly studied Canelo's tendencies, preparing counters in advance rather than reacting late. This anticipation allowed him to stay ahead throughout, making Canelo's offense look restricted and predictable. The analyst pointed out that most fighters struggle under Canelo's heavy combinations, but Crawford dismantled them with calm precision. His strategy relied not on brute force, but on preparation, discipline, and intelligence. Every defensive move flowed into sharp offense, leaving Canelo off balance. According to the analyst, this wasn't a lucky upset, it was years of experience and planning on display. Crawford's ability to neutralize one of boxing's most feared fighters cemented his status as one of the sport's greatest tacticians.
Constantly throwing the lead left hook to try and cut this off. And when he did get his foot to the outside, that was an option. But over time, Crawford, as he always does, as the genius boxer that he is and is able to do, starts to find those counter punches. And there was two counters in particular that I noted during the fight that I felt were absolutely key for Crawford. The first was the counter off that left hook to the body. Now, Canelo did land these sometimes. That left hook he throws, the lead left hook, is quite unpredictable, but he started to land it quite effectively to the body from time to time. But what Crawford was doing was he was catching it with his elbow, and then he'd throw the straight left hand back at Canelo as a counter shot. He'd throw multiple shots, and what I really loved about his counter work was he'd never throw more than singles or twos or threes. He never got carried away, he never did too much with Canelo. Don't get me wrong though, Canelo was still defensively very astute in this fight, but he simply didn't have the foot speed to get to Crawford. He couldn't do it, and he didn't want to use his own jab because I believe Crawford's lead hand is so effective that southpaw stance really meant he could dominate the fight with his own lead hand. Canelo's not a massive jabber himself, but now that he was fighting someone closer to his size, I thought he might try and implement a jab, but he didn't because Crawford's counters were just too fast and too good. There was a couple of moments in this fight, and I said in my prediction I thought that you'd see Crawford in moments looking absolutely electric and just outclassing Canelo, looking too fast and lighting him up, and we saw that. I'll never forget the beginning of round 9 where he actually stood in the pocket with Canelo and he just rolled with the shots and he was throwing counters. It was absolutely brilliant. But the second counter that he used that was really effective was he'd allowed Canelo to throw that single right hand, that straight right hand, that backhand for Canelo, make him miss and come back with his own straight left hand over the top. I also thought that Crawford stabbing to the body was very good. He'd throw straight shots to the body, and that was something I predicted from the Lara fight that he would be able to do. That was also where I got the idea with the exits that I felt would be useful. And the reason we knew they'd be useful and important was because of Saunders just not really dealing with them too.
That wraps up today's video. Stay locked in, and we'll catch you in the next one.